What's going on, guys? Scar coming at you with another Magic the Gathering video. Today's video we diving into a Simic Mutate build that I kind of had a shell of, but I kind of added in some of the new Zendikar cards into it, and I kind of want to build it around a particular card that kind of came out that has piqued my interest. And I've actually been experimenting with the deck, and I think I didn't even realize that this is how the card technically worked. And that card today is we're gonna work on the Scute Swarm. If you don't know what this card is, it's a new card from Zendikar. Pretty much what it is, it has a landfall ability that whenever we play a land under our control, we create a 1/1 insect. If you haven't seen this card go off, it is quite interesting. So in the early game, you know, when this is out in the field, if you don't have anything on it, it's going to create a bunch of 1/1s. But the thing is, once we hit to land number 6 or more, we're going to start creating the copies of either this card or whatever we mutate on it. And this is where it gets actually quite interesting. So you'd initially think like, okay, if there is a, you know, let's just say one of our mutate cards on this, it's whatever toughness, so a 3/3, 3/4, whatever it is, you're going to create, you know, just more mobs of that. Well, the thing is, the one thing I realized as I was playing this deck is actually if you mutate multiple times onto the same card, it's actually going to create copies of the cards on the mutate stack, which is kind of an interesting thing. So you can have, you know, stacks of parcel beasts and bouncing sharks and herons and styraxes all on the field, and you're just creating tokens a lot more efficiently. And overall, the deck is pretty budget friendly in what I'm trying to do today in the video. We are running 8 rares, but you do have some options to kind of like replace out at least 4 of them. I would say the one rare I am running that I feel like helps the deck run a little bit more efficiently, a little bit more timely in trying to ramp up into what you're doing, is the Lotus Cobra, which is a new card from, you know, Zendikar Rising. It has a landfall ability that whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, we have to add 1 mana of any color, which helps us out, I think, actually in the early game, especially with playing budget lands. We have a few tap lands, so we have the Thornwood Falls, and we also have the Evolving Wilds. So because we're playing like budget lands, we are our lands are coming into play tapped, and regardless of that, Lotus Cobra allows us at least still produce some mana. So if we get Lotus Cobra out, we play one of our tap lands on turn 3, we're gonna essentially get a free mana to replace that mana that's coming into play tap, which I think is pretty efficient. And the Evolving Wilds doesn't come into play tap, but the land that Evolving Wilds produces comes into play tap. So we're still gonna produce that 1 additional mana from the land coming into play once we crack Evolving Wilds. But with that being said, I mean, the list is pretty similar to, I think, a previous Simic Mutate build I did for post rotation kind of thing. And you know, right now Simic Mutate seems like a pretty decent shell for what we're trying to do. We do have a couple of the modal lands. We have, you know, the Tangled Floaterhorn, and we also have, you know, the Ballad Ged in case, you know, we need to get something back from the graveyard, like one of our maybe Lotus Cobras, or even a Scute Swarm, or even a little bit of a Kalani Ambush, just maybe as some spot removal. But since the deck isn't really too much in the way of removal other than bounce effects from the Pounce and Shore Shark, essentially the deck is just more so let's just try to mutate as quickly as possible, get a big swarm of, you know, insects into eventually hopefully a larger mutated creature that is what Scute Swarm becomes in the late game. I would partially say, unless you really feel like your opponent doesn't have any spot removal, I would partially not want to actually play Scute Swarm without actually having something to mutate onto it. So your opponent really can't have an actual response unless a direct removal spell. So that's my one thing I would probably look out for. But once you kind of get to that 6 land zone, Scute Swarm just kind of goes off, and it makes it very hard because there's not really like a other than a board wipe, there's not really much in the way of removing copies of things off the battlefield, or kind of like what we lost that white blue, I can't think of the name of it. It was kind of like, you know, when it comes into the battlefield, you get to pretty much exile target card and all copies of that card on the battlefield with the same name underneath it until it leaves the battlefield. So there's not really a card that really does an effect like that. I mean, maybe down the road we'll probably get something like that if, you know, it's possible in reality with the current way the meta is. But with that being said, I mean, overall what this deck is just trying to do is just mutate onto Scute Swarm, play a bunch of lands, and hopefully swarm your opponent with a bunch of copies of Scute Swarm in the endgame. Going into the sideboard real quick, I do have a couple of cards that you can play if you want to add a little bit more budget into. If you've been invested into Magic the Gathering already, you may actually have some of these rarer mutate cards that you can always add in that kind of flavor up the deck. We're going to talk about the Sea Dasher Octopus, which is a good mutate card, especially combined with the dinosaur that makes mutate cost 1 less. This then costs a mutate of 1 blue to mutate onto something, which can help your Scute Swarm or just help you draw some cards in the later game. Gem Razor, if you see like you're playing a lot of adventures or even decks that just play artifacts or enchantments, it's a good spot removal there. Also makes your Scute Swarm pretty decently large. Oluna, Apex of Wishes, if you want to splash a little bit of blue or a little bit of red to possibly just play the Triome, in a sense, to have that red available to possibly play it. But it's kind of like a secondary, you know, a secondary Sterix ability in a sense, so that's pretty good. Like I said, you could probably play this Triome or you could play the other one. You know, just because there's not really a blue-green untapped land currently in the meta, this is probably like the Triomes are probably your better option than playing any of the other lands, just because even in the late game, if you don't really want to play the land, granted with the landfall ability you probably do want to play the land, you could always draw 3, and of course you can always upgrade your Evolving Wilds to Failed Passages. And if you're on a limited budget and you really only can afford the Scute Swarms, you can always play the Elysian Caryatid, but it kind of slows down the deck a little bit just because it doesn't produce the same amount of mana that Lotus Cobra would produce based on landfall abilities. But, you know, if we start controlling larger creatures, then it starts producing 2 mana of any one color instead. So it's kind of like a payoff. But, you know, it is a 1/1, so it is kind of spot removal, but it is on that more budget-friendly sense. With that being said, let's dive into some games, kind of see how we go. Let's see how many times we can go off with Scute Swarm, because I mean that's really what I'm going to try to do, rather than just play the Mutate deck. If it just ends up being that way, I win by Mutate, then it does. But really, like I said, we're just trying to play Scute Swarm and just get really big Mutates and just create a large board and just a bunch of tokens. All right, we're on the play. This hand's actually pretty decent. We do have 2 lands, but we do have a Lotus Cobra, so I think I'm going to keep, and we're just going to play the Evolving Wilds and play tapped. As much as I would want to save it for Lotus Cobra, we do not have green, so it's probably a good thing that we play our lands and, you know, play the Evolving Wilds and get, you know, us going on curve properly. So this may become a pain because it looks like they are playing possibly Izzet, which makes it very tough for us to kind of get going. We'll play the Cobra, even though I feel like it's going to get spot removaled, but can't live in fear, you know. We could always mutate onto the Lotus Cobra, but rather that than something else. We don't really have a good target at the moment. I can play the Scute Swarm, but then I feel like it's gonna get spot removaled again. Can't really play anything else in our hand, so it is very tough. You know, we're just gonna go for it. Let's see what happens. Make him have another spot removal. Maybe they only had the one. Maybe the creature. Make them make me bounce it back to my hand. Interesting. Well, if they have a bounce spell, at least, you know, we have a decent blocker, then we get another copy of something. We will take a secondary green. We'll just take a lot of green because we really only need 1 blue. No tax. We'll sit back. We are in a good spot in the sense that we can always pounce a Shore Shark now on the Migratory Greathorn. Alright, they had to have it. No blocks. We'll leave the target up so we have a thing to mutate onto if they don't want to kill this. I mean, it's always good that they use their burn at our face. Then you know, our life points. We may play this, or we may play the Pounce and Shore Shark, on the sense that, you know, this puts me in a tough spot because I would love to play both. We can slow them down, I think is good. I think they have spells in their hand, so might as well. What do I want to do here? You know what? Let's just bounce this back. I could play it like in Flash, but I feel like I took too long, so you know I have something. So it's like, I honestly feel that it's not that big of a deal. We'll attack in. We'll swing it for 4. We'll slow them up because now this is back up to 5, so they do have to play a spell on their turn in order to make this cheaper. So it does slow them down in that sense. Maybe they were looking to load up. Okay, so whenever, as long as there's 3 more instants. Okay, that's interesting. If we can get 1 more land this turn, we can play this, and we can then play Parcel Beast on it, so then we have a decent bottom end. Kind of sucks that the land play comes into play tapped. and we're 1 land short. If they go off here, I mean, I guess I can put a blocker on the battlefield. We do have a blocker, so we'll see what they do here. We can always crack the Evolving Wilds to then create another blocker. Doesn't have trample, so that's good. They could play the card that makes it have 1. It's just very tough when you don't have a way to protect it. We'll get a secondary blue. We'll block here. So we take only 4 in the air. We're at 7. Interesting. That stinks. On the fact that now we have the land. So we're like a turn away. Put this over. Not really anything I could do. I mean, I can mutate again, but I don't really think that's going to do a lot. I'm at 7. They have double strike. It's like this is 6. This is not. This is pretty much game. They don't have to do anything. So, I mean, they probably will, just on the basis of possibly. Okay, they just swung in. Unfortunately, they just had the right amount of burn to do it. Oh man. All right, opponent goes first. Our hand's actually pretty decent. This is actually a card I wish I could have drawn last game to kind of get a mob back on the battlefield, but I think I'll keep. Either mill or possibly like the Omnath deck. Interesting. Demir mill. And there goes some lands, which is unfortunate for us. We'll play Lotus. Go, bruh. Is it a counter? Okay, it's a draw card. So I'm gonna assume they are gonna have like things like Teferi's Tutelage out and things like that. Another Rune Crab. Land. Mill 6. This is actually a very strong card, to be quite honest, with just playing lands and having that ability. It's pretty crazy. Blue. I mean, the one thing we could do is actually receive, get something back that they may get rid of. They have blue open. We play the, I guess we play the Swarm. Either have another draw spell or a counter. No tax. Does nothing. You can bounce something back. Alright, they're gonna draw. Which is good for us, because I mean their hand's getting a little low, so I guess they're really just playing a lot of lands and a lot of draws to eventually get the Teferi's Tutelage. Another crab. Holy moly, guacamole, Batman. Do they get like the draw? The unfortunate thing is, I think, if my deck actually played some spot removal, I think it would actually do something. But because they are just in here playing lands and doing things, it kind of sucks in that sense for us. They have a spot removal. Counter. Sure. What I want. We'll get a green. I don't have a lot of land left. Holy crap. We'll make a green. Alright, we'll get another land. And we're gonna leave because no point of playing that game. Opponent's on the play. Hand's decent. There's the card that we need to kind of allow us. They have Imori, so maybe creature-based deck, so that may be beneficial for us. Interesting, they went real hard on this. Is it green? Blue. Interesting. We're gonna do this, because why not? Are they playing Swarm as well? It feels like they're playing the same deck we are. We'll just be more aggressive with mana. Okay, fair. You have a goose. I'm not a fan of playing multiples of those. Oh, I'll take one. Just because you start discarding multiple cards. So I play second Lotus Cobra, right? We get a land into play. We create 2 mana, blue, green. We create a swarm, and then we say go. And next turn we could, if we get a land, we could play a Sturix already on the Scute Swarm. Unless they have a spot removal or a bounce spell. It is a possibility. They do play Imori because they could have a Brazen Borrower. But it's the question of that they touch all their cards. That's perfectly fine. You're gonna discard your hand to draw 2 new cards. Essentially. Just discarding what you don't need. Scute Swarm. So they got rid of a Scute Swarm. Interesting. They must have another one. I'm not scared of the Mori at the moment. No, I'll take it all. Awesome. Green. Green. Mutate. Mutate. Over. Great Horn. No tax. Say go. And now we have mutates in our hand. We are still lands away though, but I think we can get there. We mutate onto here again, scry 2 that time, or we mutate to here, get a land and draw land. I'm gonna get, I think, to my copies quicker, but it's just a matter of what happens here. That's fine. Create more mana. I'm not worried. Like, this board state doesn't worry me because I have a mana. I have copy token producers. They could have a fight spell though. But would they fight? I don't know. All right. I don't have any artifacts, but continue to mutate. I just need like the key mutation to like get a bunch of lands on the battlefield. Like if I can Sturix and get lands on the battlefield, I'll be so happy. What is this? Ah, smart. What is it? What does it trigger in 3? My face, got it. All right, so this may have me have to go in the air then. You're gonna tap down, okay. I'm not dead, that's the thing. I'm not dead. Question is, how do I want to do this? How do I want to play this? I could play this to draw a card, discard a card. I could play this to just give this flying and draw a card in the process, and also do the rest of it. Maybe that's the play, so I can get a land. Under. We get a land. Blue. Green. That's 4 mana. Play this. I mean, we both have very wide boards, so the question is, does he have a creature? He has to play X amount of creatures in order to actually hit me. That's a Scute Swarm. 1 damage to one of my Scutes. Or my face, okay. It's not a land. He would have dropped it. Lotus Scarborough. Doesn't have trample. Doesn't have trample. Do you really want to attack? I don't think so. Right? I think this is the play. Mutate here, and then we just go off in a way. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. Under. Because we can kill the pterodactyl. We'll get a blue. We'll create a bunch of tokens. Green. Green. We'll do this to that. And what else do we want to do here? Play another snake. And do this. Green, green, green. Next. No tax. And turn. Alright, so they're gonna try to swarm us out, which is perfectly fine, but they only have 1/1 swarms. Because it only triggered first. They got a green. They brought Amori to their hand. Alright, play Amori. Tap down a flyer. I have 1, 2, 3, 24 in the air. They can block. Oh no, they got rid of their. Interesting. Green, green, blue. We'll tap this. Done. We will mutate onto here. Discard it. It's fine. I don't need it. Under. Blue. Blue. Green. Blue. I think the game's gonna break. All right, I feel like I'm in a better spot, so I'm gonna just swing. I have a good amount of blockers. These all have flying, so it's like they can't fly over. It's fine. The board is insane right now, just based on what's going on here. What is going on? Maybe I shouldn't have swung with everything, but it's not the biggest of deals. Does it really matter what you block with? You're gonna try to top deck. Like, the thing is, they got a top deck, and they actually haven't mutated on their Scute mob, which makes their Scute mob inferior. So the only thing they can really look for is get another Terror of the Peaks, but that doesn't really do anything for them. Oh, okay. Scute mob. Opponents on the play. Hand's okay. It's not great, but we do have things to get lands and hopefully take advantage. So we'll keep. A lot of comes in to play tap lands, but Lotus Cobra will help us fix that. Okay. That's great. So we'll see what happens here. Possibly Jund, or not Jund. Crap. Okay, they have a lot of tap lands. I can't think of the deck that they're possibly playing, but they're playing a tap lane deck, so maybe not the worst for us. I think I want to play this just because it'll make my mutate creatures cheaper. So making creatures cheaper may be the play here. I mean, like, next turn I can play Lotus Cobra, play a land, then play like the Trumpeted Gnar, because I can create a green with the Lotus Cobra. Interesting. Okay, clerics, maybe? Warriors. Warrior. Party? Could be a party deck. Maybe like something like Embercleave's in it. Green. We're actually gonna mutate this onto the Lotus Cobra. So Lotus Cobra is a big boy. You big boy. We're just gonna get rid of that. Over. We will play a green land. I don't have anything, but we'll make a green mana and then we'll pass the combat because I have nothing to do here. All right, now if we can find a Scute mob, that'd be great. Jump into Mark and mutate and start mutating tokens. There's cards I haven't drawn. That make it quite interesting. That's perfectly fine, actually. I'm not really worried about that. Plus, this doesn't really have anything. Play another Lotus Cobra. Play a land. We'll do blue. We'll play a Trumpeted Gnar. Discarding this. Over. Make a 3/3 beast. No text. I mean, we're almost to possibly getting a Scute Swarm out. Yet again, they had to have it. But it is what it is. It's good that they're using them there, if anything. We still have a 3/3 on the board. So, and they haven't really done much to show us that they're a threat at the moment if we like do anything. Awesome. We will do this. Why not make this guy bigger? So now we have another threat. There we go. We'll get rid of this guy. Over, of course. We'll search our library for our land. I could have possibly played, I drew into this, so it's not like I could have played this any differently. We will play this. We will now play this. We will get another copy of Scute Swarm. We'll swing in for 6. All right, they have to have a board wipe here. or 2 burn spells to get rid of both Scute swarms. Because if we draw a land here, that's hurts them. They have 5 mana, so maybe they were waiting to play a big spell. Okay, so it has Death Touch, and they both have haste. So do you really want to attack in, or are you gonna sit back? That's the question. All right. Personally, I would have held that back, but that's just me. Well, we're gonna risk it for the biscuit. That's fine. Over. Draw a card. We drew a land. We make a thingy thing. We're gonna swing in, swing in. All right, we're on the play. Yeah, I can make this hand do manageable. It's not doesn't really have anything too crazy, but it's definitely a manageable hand. Part of me wants to possibly play this as a creature. They're not showing anything with playing green that I need to worry about them losing that to anything, unless they have like a ramp through, but I feel like it's a little early for that. All right, they may be playing the similar deck, it looks like, possibly. We're gonna do this though. Right, we're gonna do this. And we'll just make it play a land and say go. Next turn we play Migratory Greathorn on the Scute Swarm. Fair. They are playing, it looks like they have a couple more rares. So they may have a decent size play this turn because they're gonna make a decent amount of mana. So they're gonna have 4 mana to play. All right, that's fine. We'll play this again. Unfortunately, we didn't draw a land, so that's unfortunate. So it slows us down just a smidge bit. Into the Royal is actually a pretty good card that I kind of overlooked for possible bounce effects, but I went with the heavy, oh, yellow, white. Interesting. What's the white for? And red. They're playing Dumb Omnath. That's what it is. Dumb Omnath deck. No blocks, I'll take 2. So if we don't really hit anything here, they may go off. Well, the thing is we need to do this over. We'll get another green. No tax. We'll sit back. Then we can start mutating more. Hopefully get in more things. Though if they go off, then it is unfortunate for us. Because they're pretty much primed too, because they played a land, they did the effect. So it is the unfortunate part about Omnath that it's just too much value with the landfall ability. Like it just does way too much. Like now they have 4 additional lands. They do have white in the deck, so it's not like they can do a Genesis Ultimatum, but you know, it's one of those things that just produces so much mana. And this is only, and I had a little ramp and I missed the land drop. So this is turn 5. And you know, they have their 5 lands and they also have an additional 6-ish lands in the mana pool, like just sitting there waiting to be used. So they're creating some Drakes. I'm not 100% worried about it. Like they haven't done it. Like I'm still like they haven't really like gone off because I think the mana base is a little weird currently what they're doing. All right, so they didn't do anything, which is interesting. Do I go for the big guy? Do I go for a mini mutate and just kind of play it out? I think we do this and just kind of see what happens. Maybe they have a bounce spell under. We'll get a blue. All All right. But I'm not okay. So I haven't died yet. I'm still alive. They're counting the things. So they're playing kicker spells. Resolve. Resolve. I'm gonna create a lot of mana, because I'm assuming this is not the only land they're gonna play this turn, or the only spell that's gonna cast a land possibly this turn. They don't have a fabled passage. What does this do? Alright, resolve. Resolve. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put on the battlefield, tap, shuffle your library. If this spell is kicked, put 2+1/+1 counters on each creature you control. Alright, so they may have a strong attack in the air. Just a strong one. Yeah. And this is the problem with Omnath, to be quite honest, is because it does things like this. It creates too much mana, too much value. There's just too many cards that just kind of like fuel into what it's trying to do. I can't block flyers, so we'll do it that way. I mean, I guess I could have killed one, but we'll keep a Migratory Greathorn. They are tapped out, so we're not 100% dead. Like, there's still a chance. There is still a chance. Over. Not really, but you know, there's still a chance. No attacks. End turn. All right, we're on the play. This hand's doable. Nothing really early game, unfortunately, but you know, we can always draw into it, and you know, it allows us to slow it down. Maybe our opponent's playing slightly a slower deck. For turn 1 Fable Passage is always a decent thing to see. They also have blue. Interesting. A green. Say go. Black. Probably mill. Okay, rogues. First time playing rogues tonight. I'm not mad about it. But they probably do have spot removal, so that's the trick right here. What do we do? What do we do? Do we just try to go bigger? Yeah, we go bigger. What do you have for 1 black? That's fine. Let's see, what do we do here? I guess we could attempt to Scute Swarm, but we do have cards in the graveyard, so they probably do have a Drown in the Lock, which is the big thing here. I mean, I guess I could try to get a land. Do you want to let me get a land? Interesting. We'll sit back and we'll play this. Didn't say please. Usually Drown in the Lock's the card they play. I guess they went super heavy into the counters. Unless they went more mill-ish. Parcel Beast. Under. Next. No attacks. End turn. I'm not gonna attack into a 3/2 Death Toucher. Might as well have 2 blockers. Hopefully we can tap this down to draw land. Pass. They're just gonna swing in the air. More than likely, I'm not. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was gonna say that's what I thought there. You wouldn't probably be too aggressive. We're at 40 cards. I'm not worried about it. Evolving Wilds would have been pretty good. Scute Swarm. Land. Scute Swarm. I was swinging for 3. Since I'm not gonna attack with the one that has the ability, so we'll do that. Okay. Maybe I just want you to do it. Maybe it's just all a trick. Maybe I just secretly have a Mutate card in my hand. Do I play another? It's tough. That. Yeah, why not? We'll play another one. They don't have a kill spell that kills multiples of them, do they? Land. I feel like that's good. I mean, we're only at 17. We just only milled like a third of our deck, so it puts us in a good spot. Oh, good cards. All right, so they're gonna draw. Interesting. All right, gotta go for it. Gotta go for the big play. Got the counter. Over. Making our army. Rise up. No. I don't mind taking 1 damage in the air. End turn. That's perfectly fine. See, look at that. I already knew there was a weird attack coming in. There was a land though. There wasn't a land there. I think the play this turn would be... This puts him in a weird spot, actually. I think this puts him in a real weird spot, because if I get any land, we just have a whole bunch. Each opponent mills 8 cards. If this spell was kicked, they mill half their library. I'm at... So 12 cards? Okay. Watch this. I'm going to be a baller and get a land. In response, I'm going to tap this. Take action. Are you sure you wanted to do that? No, about 10 cards. Probably shouldn't Sturix. Oh, that's good. That's good. 1 card, 1 black mana. Spicy. Do I have a... Wait, do I have a basic in my library? Why? Oh. I really was curious if I had a basic in my library. All right, so we're back to the deck. Overall, from what I experienced, I felt like the games were kind of like iffy. I felt like in the games I was playing tonight, good chunk of them were mill decks. Good chunk of them had opponents who were just playing a little bit better on the curve for the most part. But when this deck did go off, it went off a few times. It was quite interesting there in the last game with the rogue deck, with it pretty much getting me pretty close to being milled. But you know, the power of the Scute Swarm and the landfall ability is pretty strong. I mean, it's nowhere as near as strong as Omnath, as you saw in one of the games earlier in this video. But with that being said, guys, I mean, it is a fun deck, and I feel like once you add some of the rares and make it a little bit more efficient on when it comes to like getting the particular draws, I feel like this deck is overall stronger. The Trumpet and Gnar, I feel like, is a weird spot for it because it's the budget mutate card. I feel like this is definitely a card that you easily want to replace first. You know, Parcel Beasts are pretty good because they're a cheap mutate. The Great Horn's great because that starts the Scute Swarm's overall effect. We didn't really see the Pounce and Shore Shark, but we're only playing 2 copies. The Archipelagore was kind of interesting there in the last game as well, just because we did play it and our opponent immediately scooped because they saw the rating on the walls. But with that being said, guys, let me know in the comments below what you thought about the deck overall. Is this kind of like something that's up your alley? You know, this is still a pretty budget friendly build, but you know, let me know what kind of decks you're looking for possibly to create or kind of build around. I kind of already did the rogues, the clerics, and I guess I've done the Scute Swarm deck. I feel like I'll revisit this at some point. I do have some other ideas of playing a little bit more aggressive ramp spells so you just get crazy mutates and stuff like that. Just, you know, just kind of see how we can play like maybe a monocolor and just kind of ramp it up a little bit more. With that being said, guys, one other little tip that I actually just dawned on me that I didn't do when Zendikar came out: remember to redeem your Play Zendikar code in the store. If you don't know how to do that, just go to the store in the client here, go up to the redeem code, put in play, oh my goodness, I can't type, Play Zendikar into here. I already redeemed this, so you know, make sure you get your packs, but do Play Zendikar, get your free packs, help build your collection. If you are a little bit on that budget side, open the packs and, you know, have fun playing Magic. If you like the video, hit the like button. It definitely helps out the channel a lot. If you want to see more videos like this, you know, always hit the subscribe button. It'll keep you notified when I do post videos as I post them. And until next time, guys, I will see you later.